hell have you been? It's been 4 months. Do you think that's okay? Do you think it's just okay to disappear? I don't even know how you survived. You don't think I'm important? Do you not know how vital I am? I may not be able to survive without you, but you sure as hell can't survive without me. How do you even live with yourself? Do you feel fulfilled for even 1 minute of your miserable life? Do you spend any time away from me where you feel remotely good about what you're doing? Sometimes I look at you and I barely remember you. Let's do it. It's time for another Baasvik Reviews.
Baasvik, basic reviews, Baasvik, basic reviews, Baasvik, basic reviews, video games. He's not gonna cry, he's not gonna bitch or whine, he's Baasvik, and he's gonna review. The reviews are in, folks. It's a masterpiece. Or at least close enough to a 90, I guess. And any other time, I'd start this video with a disclaimer saying that I thought I may have missed something. That Night in the Woods might be good, but it didn't resonate with me. But I'm not going to do that, because Night in the Woods is genuinely bad. I worked really hard to try to figure out where this game was succeeding. I worked really hard to find joy in the art, or the characters, the mystery, the story, the sentiment, the anything. Literally, I was trying to find a redeeming quality in this piece of crap game, and I failed completely. So let's dig in to the different elements of the game and try to figure out where I may have gone wrong. So this girl, May, comes home. She dropped out of college. She's now staying with her parents. May is 20 without a real purpose to her life. She's not sure who she is or what she wants to do. So she essentially just lapses back into her life before college. She hangs out with the same people, her friends Greg, Rufus, and Beatrice. She reverts to making high school mistakes, and she distracts herself from the crushing reality of her utter failure. It's a fine premise, kind of like The Graduate, but less dark and way more lacking in direction. I'm not saying the plot doesn't make sense, because it absolutely does. You do things you would expect to do in the given scenario. You get too drunk, you screw things up with your friends, you do adolescent crap you should have outgrown, and you try to solve a murder and unravel a mystery. Essentially normal teenager in a movie stuff. Throughout the story, we learn plenty about the characters, and they are all decently well developed. They have good motivation and a nuanced friendship. It's pretty solid, but everything goes off the rails in the end, and spoilers incoming in 5, 4, 3, 2, the rural cult ending is just not very good. It doesn't really satisfy our relationship with the characters. It's pretty much the ending of Hot Fuzz. But in Hot Fuzz, it doesn't matter that the town is a rural cult, except for the fact that Simon Pegg and Nick Frost get to have shootouts with common townspeople. In Night in the Woods, the cult matters. It's about rural dissonance and a disconnection with the real world, wherein the hardships they face are lost on them, and they believe the only reason that the town of Possum Springs has suffered is because of the departure from their old form of life, with all of them wanting a return to their mining and small town heritage. But who cares? I care about May, Beatrice, Greg, and Rufus, not about some dumb cult which they haphazardly centered the game around. It's not that I felt the cult shouldn't have been there, it's that it was too much of a central focus. Regardless, I would say the plot is the strongest part of the game. I like the characters and setting, the message is solid, the dialogue is plenty good, and even cringe-inducing and uncomfortable in a very real way. It's good. The problem is, the game surrounding it is atrocious. It's bad. I don't know what to say, except for it's incredibly bad. I don't have a problem with walking simulators, I swear. I can find joy in them. There are some good walking simulators. There are also bad walking simulators. Most people would probably argue there's too much interactivity here to qualify as a walking simulator, because at certain moments you do things like play the bass in a band, or put together a robot, or shoplift. Sure, that's the most baseline interactivity I can possibly imagine, but sure. But I'm going to let you in on a secret about the secret of a walking simulator success. The walking and elements based around it have to be good. Unfortunately, in Night in the Woods, it's horrible. It's not the controls or the conversations, it's the fucking cycle of the game. The first 6 hours of the game are so tedious and mind-numbingly repetitive, it made me want to strangle myself with a piano wire. Every single day, May wakes up, talks to her mother, goes outside, explores the same town, talks to the same people, does one activity, goes home, talks to her dad, goes to the bedroom, chats to her friends on her PC, goes to bed, and has a dream which is always the same. I kid you not, this happens maybe 5 or 6 times. And the thing is, you could skip most of this. You don't have to do this. But if you do, you're probably going to miss out on some key character development and interesting twists. Look, all I'm asking for is some decent change of setting. Instead of the same day over and over again. It would be easy to argue that this is a plot device to show the mundanity of normal everyday life. But so was the Stanley Parable, and that game didn't make me want to kill myself. And at my day job, I'm pretty much Stanley. The only eventual moments of levity are so brief that they never break things up enough. And as soon as they're over, you see that bed again, and you just know the nightmare is going to continue. The game is called Night in the Woods. And literally, a half an hour is spent in the actual woods. You spend every moment of this game dreading running around that stupid town. See? Wouldn't you want to set your game in nature? It's awesome. It's nice. It's quiet. It's relaxing. There's like a bunch of trees, like, and green stuff, and then there's flowers, and flowers are okay. They look pretty cool in the wind. You got a blurry shaky shot of the sky, There's benches sometimes. And you'll even find this interesting other trees and disembodied voices.
Did you get a picture?
And wind! There's wind. So don't just use the setting to sell some stupid cult story. Good?
I guess.
Damn it. Okay. No. I think Night in the Woods is a game with a really solid premise that lost its footing and struggled to get its message across in a proper allotment of time. As it sits, it's a bit overblown and feels padded. I can't help but think they thought players would get bored if there was too much dialogue or too many substantial events happening in sequence. So they did their best to break things up into pieces by creating a story that relied on separate days. But they failed to make the dressing around the meat of the game stand on its own. If they could have eliminated the need to pad everything and created a more concise message about life away from the big city in the forgotten rural towns of the Midwest with a focus on characters, I would have been on board. But everything around the message and the point of the events gets muddled by the gameplay. The message is lost on us. The point is lost on us. And much of what happens when we forget our focus and our purpose becomes tedious and meaningless. We ourselves are forced to experience that fear of what we originally set out to create being warped into something mundane, something that feels hollow and unimportant, even if we feel that it's necessary.
See, man, didn't you miss me? That was pretty good, right? Pretty good time. I gotta go. I know. It's okay.